Hi everyone and welcome. Today we are digging into something that seems to break one of the most basic rules of biology we all learn. We're talking about plants, but not just any plants. We're talking about plants that can live and even thrive in absolute total darkness.
So let me just ask you straight up. Do all plants really need sunlight to live? I know what you're probably thinking. Yeah, of course they do. It's what they teach us in like third grade science. But what if I told you the real answer is so much cooler and way more complicated than that?
Because it turns out, hidden away on the darkest forest floors and even buried completely underground, there is this whole cast of botanical rebels. Yeah, these are the rule breakers, plants that have figured out some seriously clever ways to live their entire lives without seeing a single drop of sunlight. So how on earth do they pull it off? Okay, so to really get our heads around these rule breakers, we first have to talk about the rule they're breaking. We've got to rewind a little and revisit what we think we know about how plants are supposed to work. And that big rule, of course, is photosynthesis. You know the drill. Plants use sunlight to cook up their own food from water and carbon dioxide. And the magic ingredient that makes it all happen is chlorophyll. That's the stuff that makes plants green and grabs the sunlight. This is pretty much plant biology 101, right? Well, this brings up a really interesting question. If photosynthesis is the absolute foundation of what it means to be a plant, then how can some of them just not do it? How can they just opt out? That is the exact puzzle we are going to solve today. Our first group of rule breakers are basically masters of espionage. Seriously, they don't bother making their own food. Instead, they've figured out how to hijack this enormous hidden supply chain that's running right underneath them. They're called mycoheterotrophs. And yeah, I know, it's a mouthful, but the idea is actually genius. See, they literally plug themselves into these underground fungal networks, the same networks that connect the roots of all the big photosynthesizing trees. So the trees make all the food, the fungi move it around, and these little guys just hack into the system and steal it. It's a super clever, indirect kind of theft. And, their appearance totally gives the game away. Since they don't need chlorophyll to capture sunlight, they're not green. Take a look at the Indian pipe plant. It's this pale, almost ghost-like thing. Or the bird's nest orchid, which is just kind of brownish. Their weird colors are a dead giveaway that they're playing a completely different game. So if mycoheterotrophs are the sneaky hackers of the plant world, our next group is, let's just say, a lot more direct. These are the ultimate plant parasites. These guys are called holoparasites, and they just skip the fungal middleman altogether. They physically attach themselves directly to a host plant, burrowing into its roots or stem and just siphoning off all the water and nutrients they need. They've completely 100% given up on making their own food. And some of them are just unbelievably dramatic. You've got Rafflesia arnoldii, which produces the world's largest single flower, but it has no leaves, no stem, and no roots of its own. It spends its whole life inside another vine and only pops out to bloom. And then you have things like witchweed, which is so good at being a parasite that it's actually become a huge problem for farmers. So here's the difference in a nutshell. You've got the network hijackers on one side, tapping into that fungal system, and on the other, you've got the direct tappers, going straight to the source. It's like two different criminal masterminds with the same goal: figure out how to live a life without sunlight. But hey, it's not all about theft and parasitism. Some plants don't cheat the system at all. No, instead, they push the rules of photosynthesis to their absolute mind-bending limit. These are the true masters of extreme shade. And when I say extreme, I really, really mean it. 0.1%. That's it. In the deepest, darkest parts of a rainforest, that is the tiny sliver of sunlight that actually makes it down to the forest floor. Trying to survive on that is like trying to live on just a few crumbs of bread a day. It's incredible. And in a way, pretty much every plant has a temporary ability to survive in the dark. Just think about a tiny seedling starting its life underground. It uses all the energy packed into its seed to fuel this desperate, pale, upward sprint. It's literally in a race against time to reach the light before it runs out of its packed lunch. So when you start to put all these different pieces together, the hijackers, the parasites, and these extreme survivors, you start to realize something really profound. This isn't just a collection of weirdo plants. It's all part of a single, massive, hidden economy happening right under our feet. And this table just breaks it down perfectly. Just think of the carbon made by photosynthesis as money. The big green trees, they're the producers. They make all the money.
The fungal network is the marketplace, moving that money all over the place. The mycoheterotrophs, they're the hijackers, tapping into the market. And the holoparasites, well, they just rob the producers directly. It's this whole complex, cutthroat economy down there.
And that really brings us to the biggest takeaway here. For these plants, their survival isn't just about their own weird biology. It's about their place in this bigger network. For them, life isn't about sunlight. It's all about connections. So, to sum it all up, how do plants live without the sun? Well, we've seen that they can hijack the fungal internet, they can become direct parasites, or they can become these hyper-efficient masters of living in the shade. Each one has found an amazing and totally unexpected way to thrive in the dark. And all of this leaves us with one final, really compelling thought. We just saw a fundamental rule of biology that plants need sunlight get completely shattered by these incredible organisms. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other unbreakable rules of nature are out there, just waiting for us to discover they can be broken?